I view all of this through the prism of, can you beat the Nets? And I think that it's possible that they're the antidote for that Nets team.
The Mismatch, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Chris, where are you at right now with the Sixers as a true finals threat?
Oh, well, I think they're right there at the top of the list.
All
yes.
right.
I mean,
we're on the same page.
Because here's the thing. I think that I think size-wise, they are going to be a massive, massive problem for even the Nets. I do. Because you're going to walk into a Nets series and you'll have to do it the same way that some of these grind-it-down teams did it against the Warriors in the past, especially when somebody's that offensively explosive, which is just you murder them on the glass and you turn that thing into half-court basketball. And so when they miss, you get the ball. When you miss, you get the ball. And when you're throwing Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris out there, I mean, that is a big lineup. And they also have big guys that they could bring off the bench, and that could be the thing that is a problem for Brooklyn if there is a problem. That it is DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin and Nick Claxton, and they don't have somebody for Embiid, and they might not have, and obviously Simmons, an elite level defender, he can take one of those outrageous scorers, at least one of them, if he could just make one of them inefficient. So, I mean, I view all of this through the prism of, can you beat the Nets? And I think that it's possible that they're the antidote for that Nets team that, you know, along the way, whether it was Memphis, whether it was Oklahoma City, these teams that were rugged and that had a bunch of big guys, they were the ones that always gave the Warriors a really hard time, and they could keep the possessions lower and grind it out against them and really dominate with their size. In that case, it was Durant, Ibaka, and like Perkins or Adams. I think, yeah. I mean, Philly's right there. I would say I would only be shocked if it's not the Nets, Philly, or Milwaukee.
You know, it's kind of funny. The Philly has lost 3 games in a row now. Golden State, Phoenix, and then Milwaukee. And yet I come away from this week thinking like, oh, Matisse Thybulle made life hell for Devin Booker on Wednesday night. Thybulle had one of the better defensive performances I can remember watching this entire season. Just how tough he made it for Booker every time he ran a pick and roll and Booker was forced to pass, or Booker brought the ball up the court one time. Thybulle strips him from behind. They get the ball back. Booker eventually has what seems like an open 3-point opportunity and it gets blocked by Thybulle. I mean, he's just so active. It's amazing to watch Matisse Thybulle doing what he's doing. Seeing George Hill continue to get integrated into the offense. Like, it feels like he's going to close a lot of games for the Sixers. I mean, he plays an important role as a ball handling presence and getting more opportunities to do that with Simmons out. You know, I really like what George Hill is bringing. So I feel, even though they've lost 3 in a row, I feel better about Philly because of these individual traits that we're seeing from the team. Like, Thybulle can be a stopper. Hill can be a playmaker for you. They can play different ways depending on the series, depending on the matchup, depending on the night. So I'm higher on the Sixers after the 3 losses in a row, which is weird to say.
I also want to believe, and I talk about how every year we talk about like those playoff scars and getting your heart ripped out of your chest and the character that builds and the things that come along with that. Virtually everybody has to lose before they win. I mean, even that Miami team, the Big 3, lost before they won. And I want to believe, for the sake of the NBA, I want to believe that that's so. That chemistry does matter. That you can't just throw together a team and then go and take a run to the finals. Now, I say that, I mean, we just saw it basically with the Lakers last year. So, but I don't want that to be commonplace, that just every year you could just throw together a team, build this super team, and it doesn't, like, all those things that, like, going to the playoffs and earning your stripes or taking, you know, getting some scars or playing together in a men's match. I mean, because this will be by far the most ridiculous, because these dudes have not even shared the court, Kevin. They haven't even been out there. Like we're going to get to the playoffs, and the amount of possessions they have played actually together, and with like even their guys, like when you're talking about Claxton and you're talking about Blake Griffin, and like the amount of possessions that whatever their most used lineup is going to be come playoff time it's going to be ridiculous, like truly ridiculous. The amount, the lack of continuity that should be there, but we know probably won't because they're just so offensively devastating. Yeah. But I want to believe that these teams that have lost, the Bucks, the Sixers, teams that have been together, done it together, gotten their hearts ripped out together, that matters. Yeah. That when you get to the playoffs and when push comes to shove, that is an advantage for you.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, like stylistically, there's a handful of those teams. Some of them have underwhelmed this year, like Miami, Boston, but still, like you still feel like there's a chance that they can fight. You have Jimmy Butler saying what he said the other day about like, we'll get the playoffs together. I'll take care of it from there. Like you still have some level of belief in those teams, and Utah in the Western Conference going through it, losing the way they have. The Clippers going through it, losing in their first year together. Last year 2, a lot of the time is better. So, there's a lot of those teams that have been through it together, and you'd like to see them do well.